Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Very excited about my guest today. We're going to talk about the Virginia City Paracon that is coming up that you should buy tickets to. Also, May 26th, if you are in the Orange County or LA area, I will be leading a ghost hunt with Ryan Singer from Me and Paranormal You. You can come ghost hunt with us. We'll have equipment. We'll have all kinds of stuff. Email me if you would like tickets to that. And also, if you can leave me 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you're listening, that would be great. Now, I'm going to say hello to my guest, Doug. And you know I always have trouble with your name, even though it's Carnahan, right? Right? Didn't I always say that?
Yeah, I even have trouble with my name. Yeah, it's Carnahan. It's a good old Irish name.
I know. I know it, but I get scared every time I go to say it. I don't know.
It's all right.
And as usual, Doug, you were good to me. You invited me to the Virginia City Paracon, and I can't make it. And I think this is probably like the 3rd time. I apologize that I can't make it.
No, it's the 4th time, but that's all right. I'm not counting.
Oh, my God.
I love you, Ken. I'll keep trying to get you there. I'll keep trying to get you. I love you.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to line that up with the Reno Laugh Factory and everything. But soon, it's coming soon, and I can't wait. But everybody should go to this. This is all right. Where do we even start, Doug? Do we start with you or Virginia? Let's start with Virginia City. Tell everybody about where this Paracon is. And folks, you will remember this is the little tape I played for you where I did the funny Paranormal Karen and got the EVP where someone said, kill her. It was in the Washoe Club. I know. So you...
Is that as in break a leg or...
No, it was in the Washoe Club, and I was there alone. You know the funny little... I don't even know if I announced this. I do funny little Paranormal Karens that are a minute long. Mm-hmm. They're all jokes. And it was up for about 2 months, and finally somebody left a message on it and said, at 29 seconds, does someone say kill her? And he was right. And it was like one of the best EVPs, but it was right in that Washoe Club, and that's where you're taking people.
Now, was it downstairs in the saloon or upstairs in the Millionaires Club?
Downstairs. I wasn't even in the Millionaires Club.
Okay, wow.
So you do Virginia City every year. Tell people a little bit about Virginia City.
Virginia City, this is going to be our 9th annual. I wouldn't imagine this, 8, 9 years ago. Wouldn't even imagine that we're still going strong, and we're every year it gets better, bigger, and it's become more like you say come to the Paracon, come and experience this and that, but now it's become more like a family reunion. Mm-hmm. People that don't see each other all year long, and they're communicating back and forth on social media, but they don't really get to physically meet. Come to this Paracon and to meet and to see each other on a yearly basis. So it's grown way beyond my expectation. I just love doing it. It's very, as you well know, putting on a paranormal event is extremely difficult to do and extremely time consuming. Yep. And but this is something something that I love doing, and this is part of the reason is because we do have all this camaraderie, and just for a minute, just for a couple days, we're not team this, team that, team this. We're a whole big group, which is pretty cool. But but the cool thing about it, so we started way back, 9 years ago, and as you recall, because the one that you did come to was at the St. Mary's.
Right.
St. Mary's Hospital.
Yes, and that was where the speakers were. So for people that have never been to a Paracon and might be like, well, I'm not sure, you get speakers all day long that are experts on topics. You get if you like this podcast, it's like that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I try to mix it up a little bit every year. I bring back some regulars, and then I try to bring in some new people and just kind of mix it up and get it so there's a little bit for everybody. But as you recall, back in St. Mary's days, we were there for 3 years and we outgrew that place. It was a beautiful, lovely location, amazing activities there, but we just outgrew it. The next year we went to the Fourth Ward School, and that was an awesome event there as well. We outgrew that in 1 year. So where we've been since is at the Delta Saloon there in Virginia City, and we've been there for going on for about 4 or 5 years now. So they've always taken good care of us. Now, I don't know if people have heard about this, and don't let it deter you, but about 3 weeks ago, they had a gas leak and blew off. I hate to laugh. I don't want to laugh, but blew off the top of the back half of the roof.
Wow!
That they had there's an upstairs banquet room, which is where we were doing our Paracons and our vendors and stuff. And they have a downstairs and upstairs kitchen. And I guess they were using the upstairs kitchen the day before or something, and somebody either left a like a propane tank going, or something happened up there.
Wow!
But one guy came in to work one morning about 3 weeks ago and got a wild awakening. So this is what's going on with that.
And
they are doing
that's not paranormal activity, folks. That's just an idiot, right?
Yeah, that's just an unfortunate accident. And luckily, nobody was hurt. The gentleman that was opening up just got very minor injuries, but it was quite an explosion. Anyway, so the owner, God bless his soul, Doc, is doing everything in his power to get this place put back together in time for the Paracon. If he makes it, I don't know. We've got about a little over a month to go. But if not, don't let that deter you. He also owns the Bonanza, which is right across the street. We're moving everything to the Bonanza, the club, and then we're going to, from there, we're going to find out where else, if any. If we can't investigate at the Delta Saloon, then we're going to investigate somewhere else other than that. But we also have...
Yeah, it's everything there. And this is May 3, 4, and 5. So everybody, the weekend, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, exactly. Cinco de Mayo weekend. Hola.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully they'll build the wall too fast so we can get some locals in. Anyway...
So that's when it is, and that's what they're doing to get there. And for people that don't know, Virginia City, Nevada, is this little city above Reno that is frozen in time. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the people live there still wear 1880 garb and walk their donkeys up and down the street and stuff like that. So it's they're in it full bore.
Yeah, that's right. I remember petting the donkey, and it's an old mining town, right? Was it silver or gold? It was gold, wasn't it?
It was both actually, but yeah, it's the old Comstock mine or mother lode that they found there, and that it was the big boom.
Yeah, and that was on Ghost Adventures. You might have they had a good. Not only was it on Ghost Adventures, but also, I mean, the whole place is just. Like I said, it's haunted in time. It looks like you're in the 18th century. Also, I think there's crystal mines under there too, which was fascinating to me. And we stayed at the Gold Mill Hotel once. I think it's Gold Mill. It's right down the street. I don't think you can stay anywhere.
I can't see what it's called.
Well, it's Gold.
It'll come to me.
Yeah, it's Gold Mill or Gold Hill.
It's Gold Hill. Gold Hill.
Oh, Hill.
Sorry.
Okay, that
Gold Hill. Yeah.
Crazy haunted. Okay, so you guys.
And I believe at that time we were in the miners' cabin and was doing some EVP work and seance and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had some activities in there, which the abandoned mine that caught fire and left like 26 or more miners are still trapped in that mine. Their bodies are. they never retrieved them. The opening to the mine is about 30 feet from where we were staying at night in the miner's cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they get a lot of activity with the miners coming and going. Still mining the gold and doing their thing.
Yeah, and so just to be in Virginia City is first of all, historically, it's fascinating. Secondly, it's just so haunted. I don't think you can miss. It's such a straight. You can go to the cemetery, you can go to all these places, and now that you're going to be wherever there's a roof, and but it's actually going to be nice at that time, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. It should be.
I mean, I can't remember bad weather there. It's always nice.
Yeah, well, we've had over the years, we've had a couple freak little storms and stuff, little snowstorms and stuff that have actually kept a couple speakers from making it up there. But we got our fingers crossed. I mean, I used to have it in early April, and then we moved it to May because of the weather. So it's probably going to be a little crisp at night, a little cool, and nice. Nice weather during the day. I don't anticipate any problems, but it's been a weird winter. So layer. That's the only thing I tell you. Layer.
Layers of clothes. Yes. Yeah. So, I just did another podcast right before you, and as soon as I call you, all the airplanes are going by. And folks, you might remember Jay and Marie Yates. They were on the podcast earlier. They're fantastic. They're going to be speakers there. Also, John Zaffis, demonologist, and also he is from Haunted Collector. And the lineup just looks amazing. And tell just real quick before we move on to stories. When they come to the Paracon, they get speakers. There's investigations. Give them the whole spiel.
Yeah, I mean, what we do if there's a couple of different packages. If you go with the platinum package, you get the Friday night catered meet and greet with the celebrity speakers and everybody else is going to be there, and we feed you as well. Can't go wrong there. And then Saturday, we'll have our vendors, which we have tons of vendors. And then the speakers start at 10 o'clock, and the speakers go on basically with a break here and there, but they go on until about 6:30 at night. At that point, we have Michael and Marty Perry, psychic mediums, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes.
Michael interacts with the spirits, and Marty, his wife, actually draws the spirits that he's talking to. It's a trip. It's really a trip. It's amazing.
Oh, that's great.
So they're going to
lead like a seance or just through locations or?
Yeah, well, they're going to actually do a gallery reading.
Wow.
Right after the speakers. So in between the speakers and the break for dinner, the pairs are going to be doing an hour and a half gallery reading.
Oh, that's great.
So that's going to be available.
Yeah, and then they get to do investigations at night?
Right, and then once you come back from your dinner break, we meet up around 9:30 at whatever designated locations that we have, and we'll be investigating the Bonanza for sure. Which else is it? Oh, the Silver Queen Hotel and the Mackey Mansion. And again, if the Delta Saloon is available, we're definitely going to go into the Delta Saloon. If not, between now and then, I will find a fourth location. But whichever location I find, they're all extremely active and very haunted.
Yeah,
and we've never had any problem with anybody saying, I didn't find anything.
I know. And it's great, folks. If you're looking for like a little vacation, you fly into Reno, you rent a car, you drive up to Virginia City. It's great. And these investigations look like they all go on to 1, 2 in the morning. And
2 in the morning, yeah.
Yeah. If you have not investigated or you're like, I don't really know how to go about this is a great weekend. Everybody's going to show you. You're going to learn so much. It's just so much fun. So, all right. So that, and like I said, Virginia City is just, you can't go wrong unless it snows you out.
And then one of your favorite locations, the Washoe, is Friday night after the meet and greet. there's time slots open to do investigations upstairs in the Millionaires Club.
Yeah,
as well.
And you can people. You can look for the ghost of me in there. That's what you'll find. But the Millionaires Club. Tell everybody a little history about the Millionaires Club there.
Well, basically, I mean, it was for the guys with all the money to go upstairs, smoke cigars, gamble in a brothel. I mean, just like every normal town in the West. So that's where all the guys that were
did the guy thing.
Actually, it was a guy thing, and it is people, they called it Millionaires Club because of that. And you had to be worth millions of dollars to be able to go upstairs and partake.
And there was quite a few murders. There was which kind of goes hand in hand with brothels, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to get killed.
Yeah, I know. You have to expect that. And somewhere here it says, "What's the suicide table?"
Oh, see, now the suicide table was in the Delta. It's now been moved because they're doing their rebuilding. It's been moved over to the Bonanza Saloon across the street. And so the suicide table is a table that they used to play. What's the game they used to play back in the day?
Russian roulette?
No. That's with a pistol. Come on now.
Is it poker?
Yeah, it's like 21, or today it's like our game we play, Texas Hold'em. But it was a game that they played, a poker game. And as the story goes, the person who owned the table, each person who owned the table lost every nickel and dime on bets, and ended up committing suicide because they couldn't pay up their bets.
I think I have a condom that's just like that.
So they have that. They actually have it now. It's encased in what is it? Plastic. Real thick plastic, so nobody can actually physically touch it. And it's.
I think I have a condom. I have a condom like that too.
Just mounted on the wall. But actually, we've done seances next to it and done some readings and stuff. And we've got some interesting activity near and based off the suicide table. So it's pretty interesting. So people will still be able to see it and experience it over the Bonanza Saloon at this time.
Oh, that's great. And so that's the suicide table. And they'll find all kinds of things. They have the little alien in the jar, folks. Don't miss that. The alien in the jar. That's adorable. So, Doug, well, you know what? Let me take a break, and then I want to hear how you got involved in the paranormal. Fierce, Funny, and Female has won over 10 book awards, and probably while I'm telling you this, it's winning 10 more. As one of the first women to work as a laborer in the Texas oil field, Marty McGibbon set off explosives and staked oil wells before realizing her childhood dream of becoming a successful stand-up comic. Marty introduces readers to a wide range of characters in her life, from sleazy authority figures and crazy Corn Belt cult leaders, to Texas oil billionaires, to wild-eyed redneck co-workers who robbed banks on their lunch hour. This is the second in Marty's series, and it is one of the most exciting stories. It's the story of a young woman's triumph over adversity and trauma, told with grace, wit, and laugh-out-loud humor. Look for Fierce, Funny, and Female on Amazon.com, author Marty McGibbon. All right. So, Doug, how does a guy like you go from, I guess were you just a normal kid? And then eventually, how did you get into the paranormal?
No. What happened to me is I was way into my adulthood before I even got anything involved in the paranormal. I was actually back in mid 1818. I am old.
Wow, you're old.
Mid 1980s, actually. And I was just sitting at home watching TV. I just moved into a townhouse in Fremont, California, and was there for about 6 months. Was watching TV one evening, and a commercial came on, and I wanted to go and grab a beer out of the refrigerator, so I jumped up off the couch and started walking across the room there to go into the kitchen area, and maybe 3 or 4 steps into across the floor, something hit me in the chest so hard that it almost knocked me down. My first instinct was that it was somebody, in the house trying to rob me or do me harm or whatever. I didn't see anybody in front of me, so I'm spinning around like a dog chasing its tail, trying to find this intruder.
Wow.
So needless to say, there was nobody there. So I kind of went back and kind of sat on the edge of the couch and was scratching my head, and I'm going, what the heck was that? Now, funny things that I thought, I wasn't thinking about it right at that time, but down the road, you kind of rethink things and kind of things come to mind. I could smell kind of something burning. Now, I wasn't burning. I wasn't on fire, but it was like an electrical kind of fire. I don't know if you ever smelled electrical wires burning or whatever, but it smelled like that to me. That took my mind not towards paranormal. That wasn't even in my vocabulary. It took me to, did I get hit by electricity? Because I don't know if you've ever done this. I was kind of raised up. I grew up out in Livermore, California, which is kind of ranch country, farm country. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I was into motorcycles, and my sister was into horses. So I go out and help her with the horses every now and then. And I don't know if you've ever done this. Some people listening out there, I'm sure they have, leaned up against that hot wire and the electric fence and got zapped.
I have not done that yet.
Yeah, lucky you. I learned as a kid, don't do that. But that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like that kind of a jolt, and it does leave like a little burning smell. So I thought I got hit by electricity. So that's the first thing that came to my mind after I figured out there wasn't anybody there. I still wanted that beer, so I popped up off the couch and went dilly-dallying across the floor again, and just about where I got the first time, boom, I got hit again. And again, it almost knocked me down. So this time I'm thinking, I just got hit by electricity. I got hit by lightning or something.
Right.
That's where my mind was. And it was like, what the hell is this? So the third time, I really wanted that beer. Third time, I needed it now.
Exactly. So, you need something stronger.
Yeah, I'd be damned. The third time I tried to go in, and I got hit again. Now, at this point, I'm going, no, dummy, you didn't get hit by electricity. You didn't get hit by lightning. There's nobody you can see in the house. What is it? What is going on? So at that point, it started to kind of creep into my brain. Hey, there's something, not of this world, something paranormal, something ghost-like or whatever, witchy-like. So,
and this is your first night in this house, right?
No, this is, I was there for like 6 months.
Okay.
Prior to that, and never had any issues, which was another strange thing. So, at this point, the Irish came out, and I'm thinking out loud, look, sucker, I want that beer, and I'm going to go through you one way or another. So I pulled up like I was on, like a linebacker for the 49ers, and here comes the running back through the hole, and I was going to nail him. And I bulled my way, boom, right through whatever this line was. And they were probably standing back laughing. had me like Red Rover, send Dougie over.
I know. I was just thinking. I hope it wasn't like Lucy and she took the football away.
Yeah. And there was nothing there. Believe me, I grabbed 2 beers. I'll be honest with you. And I came back and sat down. But the whole night, the rest of the night, I was just on edge. Anything that I thought was a weird noise or creeping around, my eyes were darting back and forth, and I was looking around. And, I went up the stairs and went to bed. The next morning I came down, did my thing. I had my own business at that time and went off and did my thing, went to work, came back home. That evening there was no problem. But the following evening, exactly the same thing happened. And that's when it all started hitting the fan, because I wasn't going to have any of it. And I told it right out that I don't know what you are, who you are. My thought was they were trying to get me out of the house. Right. So I was strictly, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, and you can't make me. Is basically how I put it.
And it was always happening in the kitchen?
Well, it always happened because it was a townhouse, so I had the bedrooms upstairs and the kitchen, the dining area and the living room were downstairs. So most of this activity was happening down below. Now, nothing upstairs happened that I could pinpoint to the extent that went on down below, because it went from this pushing to slapping, punching, scratching, biting, to the point where I was being picked up like a rag doll, shaken around and thrown across the room.
So this was just going on for a while there. You were just getting,
This was a 6-month ordeal.
Wow.
This was 6 months.
And you're, what are you, 6 foot? You're like 6 foot. You're not a...
I'm about 5'11", 6 foot, yeah.
I can't pick you up and shake you.
No, I couldn't even pick myself up and shake me. I mean, I'm a big boy. I'm about 280. Wow. So I wasn't quite that big then, but I was a good 210 pounds. And, and I was I came out of the military. I always had a wrestling and football, athletic background. So I've always been kind of strong and bull-like, if you want. And I've never had any problems people pushing me around. But
right. And this thing, so you said there was literally biting and it picked you up and
yep.
Wow. So that's amazing.
The more aggressive it got, the more aggressive verbally and mentally that I got, to the point that I was challenging it.
And
I was saying, bring it on.
Was that a good idea or a bad idea?
Back then we didn't, you gotta remember, we didn't have computers. Right. We didn't have the computers we have today. We didn't have the social media. We didn't have people we can reach out to. This show didn't exist, or any shows that we could talk to about stuff like this. This was taboo stuff. This is stuff that you don't mention to your coworkers or your family because they're going to think you're crazy.
Right.
I mean, the closest thing you could go to would be the palm reader down the street back in the 80s.
Wow. And you'd have to wear a hat and shades to go in there either way too, right?
Absolutely.
No one wants you to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So would I recommend to a client of my own today what I did? Hell no, I wouldn't. But at that time, I didn't really realize what it was. I mean, I was dealing with a lower grade demonic entity. But I didn't know that. I thought it was, in my mind, I thought it was a person that passed. And believe me, I did go to the management at the apartment complex and asked them, did somebody pass in my, in that apartment that I'm living in now? Yeah, and they, we can't, we can't give you that information, blah, blah, blah. I even went and asked some of my neighbors if they knew who lived there prior, and nobody really knew of them or anything about them. So,
And
but I didn't really have.
Did they live there long? Were they out quick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Nobody would tell you, huh?
No. There was a Privacy Act and all this stuff. We can't give you that information. So, and I didn't really dabble, but I tell you, I guarantee my next door neighbor thought I was out of my mind because because I was pretty vocal about when this stuff was going on. I mean, people could hear me, and being bounced around the house like a rag doll did shake some pictures off the wall, I'm sure. So they probably thought I was out of my mind. So it was pretty trippy, but two things happened. My what I call caveman senses started to come forward. I mean, we all have them. We were all born with them, fight or flight, and just having the senses of awareness all around us that a caveman would need.
Right.
Living in those times, just to save themselves. So my sense of just feeling of the atmosphere, I could feel it change. I could feel temperature changes that were just minute. Electricity in the air, static electricity, I could feel it, and just things of that nature. I could really sense and feel when that was coming. A sense of smell heightened. Just my sixth sense in itself heightened. So all these things, once I was engaged with this entity, started coming forward and started to develop. And ever since then, I've had them, and they constantly improve and keep developing.
So
the more I investigate,
the more you get in tune, and the more psychic stuff, and the more, interesting.
Yeah, I would never call myself psychic whatsoever, but I have those physical types of senses that we all have, are very sensitive and in tune.
Now, did you actually end up getting rid of this thing yourself?
Yes. Well, I mean, what happened the last night was like a Rocky Balboa fight. Let me tell you, it was back and forth, and every time I got knocked down, every time I got thrown, every time I got punched, I bounced back up and said, "Do it again, do it again. You ain't shit. Do it again." Sorry, can I say that?
Sure. Yep. You can swear all you want. I'm sure you said more, right? I hope so.
Oh yeah. And so I pretty much got my ass whooped again, but it was pretty extreme. And I went on upstairs, and the next morning, the weirdest thing, I came downstairs, and it was like walking into a fresh spring field. You could smell flowers. You could smell, fresh air. The thickness was gone. Everything was gone and fresh and new.
Wow.
So my belief is, whatever it was, I outwilled it. It wasn't going to get from me what it wanted. But it's never really left. Anybody that's ever done a reading on me knows that they're back there, that they're in the back, kind of waiting. Once you are involved in with a demonic, and you kind of, I wouldn't say won the war, but won the battle.
Right.
They're still there. They're still there. They're still waiting. So I'm what's called in the book. They know who I am. I go into locations, and they already said, they're saying Doug's here. Before we do anything, we're walking in the door with our recorders going, and they're already announcing that I'm here.
And that's interesting to me, because I think that once it's in your consciousness, you always have that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. And you kind of have to.
And you can't undo that. But, I also feel like on a positive note, sometimes that's with angels and other things. You kind of, once you're connected, you're connected. Has this, or do you believe this thing has caused any other troubles for you since this time?
I don't believe, because I've been pretty blessed, to be honest with you. This is what I believe. I believe this was because it just came out of the blue. I didn't warrant it. I didn't ask for it. I didn't play with Ouija boards. Wasn't into the occults or anything like that. It just came out of the closet. And I believe that for whatever reason, that this was a challenge. Somebody or something put this in front of me to see. Let's see what Doug does with this. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he runs and hides, or let's see if he stands up to it.
Now, when you said you were in the military, was this way after that, or was it connected to a time then?
Well, I would say I was probably out of the military 10 years or so.
Okay, so it wasn't something you might have been overseas and something followed you over. It just came about.
No, just came about.
Wow, and you didn't. Now I have a million questions, and I have to get them organized in my head. Did you ever sort of find a name with this, or does anybody give you, because I know they call it Legion, like what, there's like 2 or 3 levels when something is demonic. You get the first little one, and then you get another one, and then you kind of get the big one. Did anybody ever tell you anything about it, or you're kind of more like, let's just keep the space from it?
No, nobody's ever dabbled into, I think, and wisely so, I think a lot of psychics that see that there's something, I wouldn't say attached, but something that follows me. I think they're afraid of it. And wisely so, that they leave it alone.
Right.
Only thing they can tell me, and it's not every psychic, but only thing they can tell me, the ones that see it, is that you have something dark behind you. Be careful. And my response to that, I already know.
Right. Now, when you, so you don't worry about it. You go through your life with your regular faith, which, do you believe in God and stuff like that? I
don't put a name on what I believe in. I do believe in a higher power. And weirdly enough, I mean, I wouldn't call myself religious, but I do ask St. Michael's for protection. But I do believe in a higher power. I just don't give it a name.
Right. Wow. And so you do feel protected, and does anybody warn you like to stay out of the paranormal because of this, or you just, I think it's actually a good thing that you're just going to do what you want no matter where this thing is?
Yeah, it's as I was saying, I think it was a test. So I think I was kind of chosen for this by a higher power, I guess you would say, to see if this is something, because what I do, for the most part, after this happened, I had a decision to make. Should I just, go on about my life and forget this happened? Should I cower, be afraid it's going to happen again? Or should I go out and seek answers? And if it's happening to me, it's got to be happening to somebody else, possibly with children. And that's the path I chose. I decided I was going to seek it out and find people that needed my help. And that's where I believe the big picture lied, was that Doug was tested to see if this is something he can handle. And now that we know you can, now it's time for you to go out and help other people.
Wow.
And that's what I've been doing for 30 some odd years.
Yeah, that's great. And now you know so much more. You would never tell anyone to take it on.
Oh, absolutely. Since that time, I've been involved in, everybody thinks everything's demonic because of the TV shows and blah, blah, blah. It's not. Believe me, it's not demonic. And you don't even want to come near anything demonic. And if you ever did, you would know it. You would know it full out. But I've been involved in 6 documented demonic cases that involve the church as well. And these are things that are rare, but they are so horrific and so unbelievably dangerous. I tell people that you don't want me, to a certain extent, involved in a demonic case, because what I do is I identify it. I go in, I'll figure out, is it demonic? Is it poltergeist? Is it just a nasty spirit? Is it alcohol and drugs? What is it? Now, if it's demonic, what I tell people is, I'm a foot doctor. You need brain surgery. So now we're going to go to the brain surgeons, which are the demonologists and the church to get involved. And those are the experts in that field. I've assisted and been and helped with these cases, but to do any kind of rituals or to do anything other than keep my mouth shut and do what I'm told, that's it. Because I'm not anywhere near qualified to do an exorcism or anything on anybody with a demonic entity. And that's where we would go with it.
Right.
If we found one today, we would document everything we possibly can to prove it is a demonic case. Go to the church, show them the evidence, and try to get them involved. And it's hard sometimes, because sometimes churches don't want to get involved. It scares them as well.
Yes, and that's exactly, when we come back, that's exactly what I want to ask you about. I had a very interesting conversation with someone the other day, and I want to ask your opinion on this, so we'll be right back. Who do tarot readers go for tarot readings? They go to Melissa Sonova at melissasonova.com. She gave me the best reading a couple of months ago that is still resonating and helping me out now. She is authentic and to the point. You loved her on the podcast. She is the no BS tarot reader. She also has a tarot class online right now. Check it out. Just watching the promo, you will see how much fun you are going to have while you learn. Also, check out her book, which is always right beside me when I'm doing my readings or my tarot card for me in the morning. It is called Kitchen Table Tarot, and you will love it. Melissa Sonova, that's MELISSACYNOVA. Check her out. Okay, so I had a conversation with someone that, and this is of a lot of weird terms, and I hope I'm not offending anyone with it, but there's a celebrity, a comic that knew a celebrity that suddenly became very, very Catholic. And the Catholic Church, like anybody else, kind of attached to this person. It's good promo or PR or whatever. And a friend of mine had a very simple ghost in his house, and they sent over an exorcist. All right? They went all out. And I was kind of like, I said to him, everybody doesn't get that much attention. And the guy told him quite a few stories that are not bad stories, but he would talk about how there was a demon, and these 2 other ministers couldn't get it out until the Catholic priest walked in, and a demon scattered. So it's a little, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt, because I feel like that's not really a fair. I know, isn't that kind of
yeah, it doesn't sound like really a fair assessment to me. But.
Right. And so they were doing a little promotion. But I was saying to him, I don't think people can get someone from the church out that easily or that quick.
No, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of proof. They don't want one to be embarrassed with some phony stuff. And then be called out on it. 2, they want to make sure that if it is, it's something they can handle. Again, they don't want to go out there, perform an exorcism, and come back and say, "Hey, that didn't work." There's a problem. But a true exorcism, it's not going to happen in an hour. It's not. It could take weeks. Could take months. Could take a year.
Right.
It all depends on what's embedded, how much the person that is affected, how much they're willing to put into the work as well. I mean, they have to want it to be, they want it to be exercised. A lot of times, you'll find people that'll say they want it exercised, but they feel they have that
draw of attention.
Yeah, not only that, but they have in their mind this thing is saying, I love you, and they're nobody, and I'm going to take care of you, and blah 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 blah. And in their mind, they're thinking, well, this can't be that bad. This thing loves me. This thing's going to take care of me. This thing, and all the while, they're losing all their hair, their teeth.
They're like a meth addict.
Bugs.
Wow.
Yeah, and eating bugs off the wall and croaking like a frog. So it's pretty trippy. They don't win every single case. To tell you the truth, I was involved in one not too long ago where the woman took her life. Mm. So it is very dramatic. It is serious. It is life or death.
And it's also something that people don't understand how complex psychologically the issue is, because you may have been chosen, something makes you feel special, you have a regular humdrum life, all of a sudden you're getting all this attention, which people maybe, and I actually have friends that are like, I want to see something, I want to see a demon, and I'm like, I don't think you do. I think you need to think that through. But these are like Tommy Durant always says. He says, all I can hope. These are ancient beings. They have a lot of wisdom. All I can hope is that I can meet it on its level. Right. That's all I want right now in this moment, to meet it on that level, because you're not going to outwit this thing. You're not going to, that's very interesting that the Catholic Church at some point, if they were to say to someone, I can't help you with this, would they assume that the person was attached to it or was obviously in the psychological state where they weren't going to let it go? Or would they ever, sometimes it'll move with you. Have you ever seen cases where it's just like, I don't know what to do except walk away?
Well, for myself, there's nothing else. There's nothing I could do,
right? Personally,
because it's not, as I say, I'm a foot doctor. I can only do so much. When you're communicating with a demon, you're talking dangerous stuff right there. As Tommy says, you have to be on their level. There are very few and far people are on the level of a full-fledged demonic entity. Extremely intelligent, speaks several languages. The only thing they can't do, the people have it's a myth, is they can't tell the future. They can't tell the future. And to be honest with you, if you talk to most of the demonologists, they can't really capture your soul. That's yours. That's you. They can't take that from you. But they can talk you into taking your life. They can talk you into doing bad, nasty stuff. And they can destroy you pretty easily, and the people around you.
And that is somewhat, which a case we've talked a little bit about was the Constantinos.
Okay.
That maybe we don't really know what that was that actually went down or happened there, but they obviously were already on their way with some trouble.
Yeah, I would be speculating. I knew Debbie and Mark fairly well. I wasn't let's go have dinner friendly with them. But I knew them, talked to them, and they knew of me, and so we had that rapport. I don't know if Mark had an attachment or what the deal was or what their issue was, or it could have just have been just a husband and wife, relationship went bad and jealousy kicked in and and stupid things happen.
Yeah.
When that happened. But but I know that the family, their daughters have kind of took sides and with their father. So I don't know, I don't really know, what happened there. It's total tragedy regardless.
Yeah.
From both ends, but those are the things when you deal with the paranormal, when you go head first into stuff, dive that deep in, and they were pretty ballsy. They would go into pretty much any kind of situation, and
which again is
put yourself
something
out that way.
Yeah, we don't. I don't provoke ever. I don't know if they did, but people see that on TV and think that's okay.
Well, that's half the problem. You see what's on TV, and that's how they think. People think, for the most part, they're just getting into the field. That's how they think it all goes down. Right. That's how everybody does it, and unfortunately, it's not. It's for the most part, what you see on TV is for entertainment purposes. Right. And and every now and then they get lucky capturing stuff on film or EVPs and stuff like that. But I know, for example, that Zach and Aaron and Nick as well, from Ghost Adventures. These guys have been throwing themselves into the mix for quite some time now, and some pretty heavy duty stuff. And each one of them has suffered in their own way. Yeah. For it. Each one of them had some sort of attachment and some sort of illness. Yeah. If we're to believe Zach in his demon house, he's almost blind because of it. If that's truly the case. Aaron had an issue with an attachment, and it pretty much ruined his marriage. Yeah. So, and Nick as well. So it's when you throw yourself, out there. Just consider this: go to the zoo and jump into the lion's den and see what happens.
And you know what? And now, but on that note, also don't forget to go to the Virginia City Paracon.
Exactly. It's a little bit safer, I think.
Actually, you know what it is, and that is kind of a great segue, because you will be around people who know what they're doing and who will help guide you along, and you can hear their stories, and it really is a great time. I'm so sorry I can't make it this year. And Doug, before we go, tell some people, give them some tips how you stay, I don't know if you want to say positive, or how do you stay out of trouble, or any good things for you laughed like out of trouble.
It's like, who you been talking to? Obviously people I don't know. Yeah. So, how do I stay grounded? How do I just, take everything pretty much with a positive attitude. I'm my own boss. I don't let anything negative come into my life, and I always look forward, and try to shake off the old dirt and keep moving forward. Try to keep it as as happy and
positive,
good as we can. Positive, yeah, for sure. So that's just my nature. I go into things open-minded and with my eyes wide open and knowing what I'm getting involved with. Right. But it's taken me 30 plus years to get to the point where I can do that and come back out of it.
Right. Well, Doug, thanks so much for spending this time with me. And it's vcparacon.com.
Yeah, it's vcparacon.com. That's you can go on there and check it out. Get your tickets for the Washoe, for the Perry's gallery reading, and then you can get your tickets for the Paracon itself, either a platinum ticket, gold ticket, there's silver tickets. And if you just want to come and investigate, there's investigation-only tickets as well. So there's something for everybody if you want to come and join us.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you out there.
Absolutely. And I can't say enough good things about the Yates and Don Staggs. Your lineup this year is just fantastic.
Yeah, we got some new people, and we got some people that everybody knows. And, each and every one of them has their own story, and they're all well worth meeting and listening to and getting to know.
Yeah, folks, do something different. It's well worth it. And like I said, look for the ghost of me.
Will do.
Well, thanks, Doug. And everybody, if you can leave me a 5-star review or wherever, remember May 26th, Orange County, I will be hosting a ghost hunt with Ryan Singer, and a great location. Email me for tickets. If anybody wants a tarot reading, karenrontowski.com or paranormalkaren.com. I'm sure I'm supposed to tell you more things that I always forget. Thanks to producer Mike at Uno Rising Media. Everybody, we will see you next week.